What's going on, traders? Yes, the market is booming. And why is this? I think this is very important to know. A lot of people are looking, what did Powell say exactly that made the stock market rocket around 236? We're going to pay attention to it. I got a surprise. I found something that I think it just might be it. I'll talk about it. Stick around, guys. First thing I want to see is some likes. Let's get it started. I got a lot to talk about here on Money Mitch. We'll take a look at some stocks, but like always, right now, the important thing is, we're all looking at it. What happened that made the stocks start going on a massive run?
It's time for Money Making Mitch. When investors need a story, we're going to the moon. Welcome to Money Mitch, where story is everything. I'm here to find you the next opportunity. It's all about the green hands. Now we all know the bull market is here to stay. Money Mitch.
What's up, traders? Yes, I know a lot of people are going to hit me. They know that this morning I was looking a little bit of a bearish, so I'll put the egg on my face, as they said. And sometimes you're going to be wrong, guys. We're not always going to get it right 100% of the time. But one thing you don't want to do is fight the tape. And I wasn't trading to the downside today. I was more long waiting to see what happened. But definitely, I did not expect to see a change in the facts that we've been getting, right? So one thing that I've been pointing at is, and I think it's very important, a lot of people have been paying attention to the stocks, but what have they been missing out on? They've been missing out on what I think is the important part of the Fed and why we got knocked down in January. Then we saw the meetings come, minutes come out in March and April. And then what did you see? Okay, so according to the minutes, the Fed was going to start getting rid of those bonds, and those bonds, they meant treasury bonds at the tune of 95 billion a month. This is where they go ahead and they change on this. If you take a look on, of course, the Fed website, you'll see kind of a press release on how they plan to take off the assets, the selling of the assets. And what did they release today? Well, they say for Treasury securities, the cap will initially be set at what? 30 billion per month. And then after 3 months will increase to 60 billion per month. What did we just say? The Fed will start getting rid of those bonds in the tune of 95 billion a month. So what does this show? This shows that they completely changed their minds from the minutes to the meeting today. What they realized is they're going to focus more on what they're not just going to go ahead and sell them immediately, because they're trying to give what a soft landing. This is what most people were not catching today in the meeting. And really, this wasn't given in his speech. This was given by the press release. And I think this is the important part, is catching those slight things. And I tried to talk about it this morning, that I think that that's the important part here. I'm going to show you guys a little bit more from what I wrote. And this is the exact kind of, I was just getting there literally from the release here. And I'll show you guys it, right? This is where it kind of changes face, one of the things that they state here, and I'll go ahead and I'll put it up on the screen here so you guys can see it. Let's go ahead and throw myself in the background and just get this full screen. I'll zoom in a little bit more so you guys can read it a little bit better here. And so one of the things that is stated here, and I think this is an important part, is they added this part right here. To ensure a smooth transition, the committee intends to slow and then stop the decline in the size of the balance sheet when the reserve balance are somewhat above the level it judges to be consistent with ample reserves. So what does this show us, guys? This shows us that, yes, they can change their minds at any moment. They can either slow it down and stop the sell-off, or they can increase it up to what? 30 billion per month at the beginning. And then after 3 months, 60 billion. And if you notice, They never said anything about 90 billion or 95 billion. This is where the story changes, and now you're seeing the stocks start booming. This is where I think is the reason that you started seeing the lift. It's not because of a 50 basis point height rake that we got today. That would point to the downside. What points to the upside is, yes, a slower selling of those assets. So there you guys have it. That's exactly why I think exactly why we saw this rise. And of course, there's no 100% answer to this, but if you take a look at it, that's to me what changed between last month's and this month's talk. And so I'm going to be paying attention to this. Look at you. Hey, I see you guys in the chat. I'm trying to get you guys the information, right? It's not just always my opinion. I want to get you guys the facts, and that is strictly from the facts there. So, hey, I hope you guys got the insight that you guys will probably hear when? Tomorrow, when other people's catch up to this fact. But hey, at least you guys heard it first right here on Money Mitch. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at that run and what was running there. So let's take a look at the SPY. You can see how this just took on off. And what was getting hit early? What was getting hurt early was tech. AMD was getting hit hard here. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look. I want to take a look at the sector chart here so I could show you guys how this kind of changed and whipped around and really quickly. I mean, we could take a look here at the 3 minutes. You can see here right near the open, we were coming down. We even broke through the lows there. And right around 12:20, we started pushing back up. And then really, I mean, into this around this 236, we did a little dip in tech, and then tech started pushing back on up. I think this is where you start paying attention to look to see, do we get some tech names to really just start rallying here? So, of course, take a look at Apple. Look how it's back up there towards 165. We want to get it to the 170 level. I've talked about how it's so important. If we can get it up here, this is now going to turn into what? No longer a red level. This is a green level for us. And the red level is 159.15 on the downside on Apple. We don't want to see that break, but it could just start roaring. Tesla, did we recover on Tesla? Yes, we did. And we broke out of the range. I talked about today how this was the range on the upside. And we were going to see where we're going to get towards the upside levels. And now we're starting to hold it. So now what I want to see is, do we hold the pullbacks around those levels? It's around 930 here on Tesla is where I'll be looking for pullbacks on there. We can take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA started pushing up above that $200 price point. I'm going to look for a slight dip tomorrow closer towards this 197.50s to see if we can get in that area and take a buy. I do think this is going to cause some kind of rally in the market, and this is why you have to be really flexible. Sometimes we're going to have to change our mindset because something like this comes out where it's completely different tune. And what this shows me is that the Fed is actually concerned about the stock market, and they're not so concerned about fighting inflation, even though they keep mentioning it. They're like, let's try to give a soft landing here. Let's not sell off so quickly here. And so what you're seeing is them kind of slow down. I don't think that what they did was hit, a complete turnaround, but they definitely eased up a little bit. And that's what you guys are seeing out there. So with this, I got to flip. And I got to go bullish for a little while. Does this mean that I'm going to be bullish forever? No, we could easily see the change come right back down. But I'm going to definitely try to jump on some opportunities on some pullbacks now. And that's how you have to be as a trader. As a trader, you have to be flexible. Go with what you think sometimes. But like always, price action is going to lead us. Once price action leads us, like today, we need to look for a reasoning. What was the reasoning? Was it catalyst involved? Was it technical involved? Or was this just kind of a relief rally? To me, clearly, now we have a different catalyst that's coming into play, and we need to go ahead and just flip it like a switch. Let's go. Ashley, haven't been on your stream in a while. How's it going? Hey, it's good to see you in the chat. Let's go ahead. I think it's a good one to catch. A lot that is going on out there. And for me, honestly, I haven't seen anybody talk about what I just mentioned. So if you didn't catch that, Ashley, rewind a little bit and see what I mentioned about the Fed meeting. All right, let's go ahead. Let's no, Mitch, flip, let the market rip. Hey, I'm looking to the long side now. We'll see what happens. See if there's some opportunity. Of course, if we come back down and we start breaking through some lows, or we get some, some feds to come out and just start getting bearish on us and knock us down, we can always flip back. But right now, we're looking towards the upside because of what is said of the slowing down of the Treasury securities. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what other stocks you guys can be taking a look at. Of course, if Tesla's going to move, maybe we start taking a look at a stock like maybe like Ford. Ford is one that I'm thinking about taking an investment on because I do think that they're going to be pretty good in EV. If they really do get this kind of, the Ford Lightning out and it really just starts kind of kicking, some butt out here. Everybody knows how kind of, no offense, but how ugly the Cybertruck is to me. And I don't think it is going to do well in the long run with trucks. But Ford here, hey, maybe we're taking a shot in Ford. Another one that I'm thinking about taking a shot in is Fisker. Why? Because Fisker is going to be releasing their vehicles in November. And if they are going to be releasing their vehicles in November, this might be an opportunity to go ahead and buy. One thing that I said yesterday that I think is very important, and I think we talked about it with Mark Yusko. So shout out to Mark Yusko yesterday, staying on for an extra 30 minutes. We talked for 45 minutes. But one of the things that he talks about is how everybody likes to go running away in the stock market when we get a discount. It's the only place that this happens. If you look into retail, if you look into everywhere, when there's a discount, what usually happens is people go running to the store, not running away from the store. And so, hey, let's go ahead. Let's see what happens out there. We'll see if we can go ahead and get some discounted stocks on the investment. And start taking some shots, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with starting to take some shots now and using a level to go off of, and we'll see what's going on out there. Now, I do want to cover stocks from you guys in the chat. Let's take a quick look at the sectors today, see if there's anything that really led for us and is looking really good, maybe on the daily chart now. And then we're going to look to see if we get another rally. So utilities came back, and I want to point out utilities because it looked like we were pulling back significantly fast, and then now we've rallied right back. Stock like Duke is an interesting one. Is this going to start rallying on back, or as we see kind of these energy prices start rising? Of course, we're in the summer months, so it's not as bad for natural gas as it's going to be into the winter months. So we'll see what happens on this. And I also saw talks of how Boyle was fighting today. I did also hear about, I think, Yoel. I think it's Y-O-L-D. Or no, it's Y-O-I-L. I forgot it today. The reverse one of this, and someone told me it today, and I was kind of interested. But I'm not fighting natural gas because at the end of the day, I think in the winter months, we'll probably get another rise. All right, Clorox into report tomorrow, or Crocs into reports tomorrow. I see written in the chat there. Mike asking about this one. Let's take a look at the chart, right? I mean, the chart has been pulling back. It's trying to recover that 61.8 on the fib retrace, and that's all the way from the bottom onto the top there. And you take a look at there, we did try to hold on the 50, and then what happened? We bounced a little bit, but eventually flushed through it. Now you can see here, it does look good as long as the market could close green tomorrow and you can see kind of footwear and accessories kind of push. It wouldn't be a bad chart to go off of, let's say maybe around the 67 level. I do think this could potentially come back to the 80s and 85, but I would also pay attention to stocks like Foot Locker. I know Nike had a decent push off their earnings, but if you can see here, it pushed on up, then really quickly gave those gains right back. So I would pay attention to also stocks like Nike. Any stock in the footwear accessory side, you want to pay attention to. Also like Skechers, something like this. Pay attention to it because it could affect it tomorrow. You want to see the industry make a move on up. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get it going here. What do you guys want to go ahead and talk about? It looks like I see a lot of people talking in the chat. I want to catch up with it. I know that you guys caught my Fed talk. So let's go ahead. Smash the like, guys. I appreciate it, MD. Support us. Let's keep going. I'll take stocks from you guys now if you guys want to take a look at these. And hey, GL, I appreciate the love. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's take a look at it. Hey, one of the things is I'll definitely always try to bring some value. I just don't try to just bring the show and then just run with it. I try to bring you guys something that you guys can base off of for tomorrow and we can get better, not worse, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm not bringing value to you guys please let me know because that'll be the day that I hang it up. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what are you guys going on out there. Long side on the tendies, INTC versus AMD. Interesting look. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right. So what we could do is we could take a 3 chart approach here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close down the middle chart here. INTC on the right hand side. Let's do AMD on the left. Let's take a look at the daily charts and see what I would want to pay attention to first is kind of the RSI. I don't have RSI on this one, so let me just pull this one. I don't have it on that one either. All right, don't worry about it. We could just pay attention to the MACD here. You can see the crossover that we had on AMD when we pushed back above the 90s. That's actually a good level. Now we're seeing that expansion come from this, and now we're trying to get back above 100. But if we take a look at INTC, we can also see the same thing, kind of some sideways action. We got a dip towards the 44s, and it's a very similar chart. The only thing that I would point to on INTC is that from the top to the bottom here, you'd get about, oh, it'd be good if you could see it, guys. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you're so focused here. But AMD's on the left-hand side here, INTC on the right-hand side here. From the top, you can see it's about a 35%, 36% retrace there for Intel. But if you take a look at AMD, you can take a look there, and that's not a 38% pullback. That's a 50% pullback and further, and now recovering that 50% mark. And so I think that's an important level here. We're taking a look at the 50% retracement, and the 50% retracement is right around that 89 level. And so that's going to be the level that I could think you could rely on the risk. And it actually gives you a potential for more gains on the AMD chart than the Intel chart. So I would say, yes. Is AMD going to be a little bit more riskier than the Intel chart? Yes, but I like AMD more here to get on up there above 100 and hold. We'll see what happens there. All right, I'm seeing a lot of stocks rolling through the chat. I'm going to try to do as many of these as I can keep going through. So let's go ahead. Let's do it. All right, Boyle opposite is Cole. There you go, Zen Bush. Appreciate it, man. That was the one. KOLD. Keep a look at it. We'll see if it ever turns around. All right, Merck, I think being mentioned by Jet here. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at Merck. Let's go to the main chart here. Let's go Merck. Let's take a look at this. This actually looks really nice on the daily. You can see here, you pulling on back here. Then you broke on back out here, right? Then you held the pullback. Now, one of the things that you're starting to see is it holding this resistance. I would look for it to hold that 8680s. You got a couple cracks underneath there, but if it can hold that on a pullback here, it looks like it wants to come back towards that 90 level. If we take a look here on the hourly, you got out of this, you pulled on back, now you've gone sideways. I'd be looking for tomorrow to make sure that we're holding towards that 87, but if that happens, it looks like it wants to go ahead and take out the 90. We'll see what happens there on Merck. All right, let's go ahead. Let's keep it going. Asana being mentioned. There you go. A name that's gotten destroyed that could potentially come back if the market is going to come back. One thing to note also, if you take a look here at the bottom, this is what you call an MFI, a money flow index. A lot of times the money flow index is going to tell us bigger money and how it's coming in. In is when it's coming up, and out is when it's coming down. And how's the flow? Is it coming in or out? Now, one of the things that I like to always do on these is point out extremes. It's not necessarily I like to trade off of them, but I look at to point out the extremes. When have we run and when has that happened? If you can see here, when we ran in the 2021 year, we were down towards the bottom, really close towards this line. Then we pull on back here. We get towards this bottom again, and we give a little run. It doesn't always mean it's going to be a big run, but we definitely turned trend there, and we bounced a little bit. Now we come back over here in this area where we come right back to the line, and what do you see right after that? Another little run. So now that we're back into the same area, now we're seeing a little run. How could this keep going? It could keep going to 35, 40. Doesn't mean it's necessarily going to come all the way back up to, let's say, 120. But can we look for this potentially for some upside? Why not? One thing that I will tell you guys, though, I would be using some resistance and some levels for pullbacks. I don't want to get caught reaching for stocks. I want to look for pullbacks. And you could also use a fib retracement. If you use it from the move today to the top, You're using that 50% retracement level around, let's say, 2860s, and I drew 2840s. You can see how you're using the resistance, and you're also using a fib to find a similar level area to go and attack a stock like Sana. All right, we hesitate at discounts because we think it might go lower, maybe our entry target. Yes, I agree with what you're saying here. Remember, we talked about this, that a lot of people run in the markets when they're discounts, but what can you do to help yourself out there? So a lot of times people try to go into positions all at once. Remember, in a free commission environment, you don't need to put all your shares in, even in two orders. Let's say if you were doing two shares, and the idea here is to use the free commissions to your advantage. What does that mean? Maybe that's leveling some orders here, and as you come down, you're getting hit. Like, let's say if I wanted to put 100 shares into the market, maybe I'm putting it in at different levels, 10 shares at a time, to keep getting hit. And then eventually when the market rallies, I can add to that position and take a swing. This is not something that I'm telling you guys to do. It's not financial advice, but what I'm trying to tell you guys is how we can approach sometimes when we're getting into a discount. And what we do is we slowly get in there, slowly put your capital, and then when you find that rally, then you can go ahead and try to add to the position. Like always, just make your own investment decisions and your own levels, but this is the way that I would approach it. All right, Hans Yolo coming in here with the Nicola. Nicola. We'll see what happens on this one. Of course, a dog is a dog, but a dog can always change. And when the dogs go barking, that they do. One thing I'd point out is that this is down towards kind of like the 52-week low. So maybe you're using today's low to go off of that level. I wouldn't be going after this stock without a doubt, but hey, Hans, it's all to you. I understand the levels that you're probably looking off of, those lows right around here. If it doesn't break those lows, you're looking good for at least a little rally. The question is, can this company really change the tune of what it's already given? Joshua wants to take a look at Lyft here. Lyft, let's go take a look at that. Lyft has been coming on down here. Could come back to at least fill some of this gap. The real question is, are we going to continue to see kind of what I think it's happening in Lyft is a clear example of labor shortages, of people kind of not going back to doing the Lyft job. And one of the things that I see is that I just don't see that kind of drive and focus in investors that this is going to be a monster stock. Same thing is with Uber. I thought when Uber came out public that it would just be a monster stock. But if you take a look at it, we're below IPO pricing on Uber. So until you start seeing like these stocks just take off, I would stay away. But personally, it's always up to you, Joshua. All right, let's go. Let's take a look at Apple here. Apple's trying to come on back there. I told you 170 is the level you're looking for. It held 159.15 today beautifully. I was watching that today, and I even talked about it. For some reason today, this is what was keeping me interested. The market did not want to break this 159.15 on Apple. You can see it was coming on down, and the SPY was just dropping. But Apple wanted to hold on. This is what gave me a little bit of an insight that, yeah, maybe we could hold on. And then you started seeing what Apple actually push up here around 12:30, and then it drove it when the market started going there. So we'll see what happens there on Apple, but definitely you can see that they're trying to push. It looks like the playoff basketball for AMD and Intel one-on-one. Hey, I'll tell you right now, if I'm a betting man, you guys know I like to bet. I'll probably bet on the Heat tonight, but hey, I'll bet on AMD over Intel any day. Intel needs to completely change. They're not what they were. All right, what's going on? Vision Trading. It's good to see you in the chat. Let's go. I have a lot of people in the chat today, maybe some new faces. If you're new to the show and you want to get a stock covered, throw it on up. This is your chance right now. All right, let's keep it going. How you doing today? I would like to know Tesla. Tesla, I already covered. If you want to rewind, you can talk about that. But there's two levels that you broke out of today. There was a range that it was going sideways of So now that you see that breakout above, what's called a throwback is when you do a breakout above the trend line, and then what do? You come back to that line and you bounce off of it. So we're going to look for the same off the resistance. So you come through the resistance, you look for that bounce off that resistance, and then the continuation. I would be looking for some pullbacks if you're looking to go long, but like always, just try to look at hourly levels, 15 minutes, some retracement levels. That's what I look for the opportunity to catch the dip. All right, let's keep it going. Let's go. Let's go. Good magic trick. Let's go. Sizing in, sizing out. Not a bad way to approach it. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at it there. Tesla, like I said, just wait for it to break out of that level. What else is being BRQS, Juicy Trades, BRQS. Let's take a look at that. Boring's technology, software, and application stocks. The stocks that have probably been hit the most since kind of pulling back. This hasn't really changed its tune ever. And so to me, first, I would want for it to kind of change out of this tune. As you can see, it's just been going down. So to me, I would stay away from this stock at all costs. Just because I haven't seen anything really change here. It's just been in a downtrend. Can this come back? Yeah, but I mean, it's down to 22 cents, man. You got to be careful with something like this. This could easily just go bankrupt. I'm not saying that it's going to, Juicy. Really, I'm not trying to be against you, but it just doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. I could take a look at the hourly, and there is a lot of volume that's been coming into this, but I just don't see the drive that would get me excited. And if anything, I see what here? I see a head and shoulders pattern here, guys. Here's the head, shoulders right around here, shoulders here, boom, back down. All right, let's keep going. Shopify being mentioned in the chat. So Shopify is shop till you drop. 450 bouncing level today, guys. It's not a bad one to take a look at. I've been watching to see if this one could pull back all the way back down to 375. It didn't get to that level. It got close towards it. But now bouncing off the 450. I think you just have to use today's low or maybe yesterday's low and kind of use those levels to go off of it, because there's not much that you can use here. But you have to use kind of down towards 439 and see if it's going to keep going. I would look for a pullback towards this resistance, if not maybe inside this resistance. So that's 470 into 450s. Then look for the scoop back up to 490s. All right, let's keep it going. What's going on out there? All right, looks like a lot of other stocks rolling on through. Millie in the chat. That's a new one there. I got you, Millie. Let's take a look at the DWACR. All right, the DWAC it is. DWAC has been pulling on back there to the 47.81. The problem with this one is that it's very binary, right? Let's just be honest. It's either going to go to the moon or probably come back down closer towards, let's say, 20 or 30s. This is when I would just be careful. You got to make your own decision. If you want to go for this, it's okay. Just understand how much you're willing to pay to find out if DWAC actually becomes something. Because if you're not willing to pay it, then I mean, of course, there's, that's always your decision. But I always ask myself, if I'm taking a high risk trade like this, hey, how much am I willing to lose? And can I stick to that risk if this trade just goes against me? That's another question to ask, because, hey, everybody could say, yeah, I'll risk $50 on this trade. But what if the trade just goes against you too quickly and you can't get out at that $50? What are you going to do then? All right, Bud for my grandma. Hey, a little 420 action for your grandma? No, that's probably the Budweiser. And I can't blame her for drinking a little Budweiser. Hey, one of the things I did see, though, is TAP kind of turned around, right? And TAP was looking ugly. Even though I was starting to call Bud, TAP kind of pulled back here. Let's see if it can hold these pullbacks. I'm going to show you right now. Look at TAP here. TAP is, of course, cores. And you can see it pulling on back, but it did catch a little bit of a bid today. So that's not a bad one to take a look at. Look at that Bud, 55, 57. You'll look for a move back up through 60. That's the level you want to see for a day two, something that where it just closes up here in this green space. It won't be looking bad there. I'll take a look at this tomorrow to see if it starts moving. It's not a bad one to kind of keep on watch. We'll see if it gets on up there to 60. It's not a bad chart. As you can see, I kind of been watching it here on the monthly. It held that monthly low around 55, 57. So you just want to see it break out above 60. All right, let's keep it going. LAC being mentioned in the chat. Some Krispy Kreme. Oh man, I had some Krispy Kreme yesterday. I still have Krispy Kreme downstairs, but hey, let's take a look here at the Lithium player, LAC, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap on up. It's going to be the last stock of the day. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I tried to do as many stocks from the chat today because I know that a lot of you guys got some stocks to take a look at. But LAC coming on back today, looking good here. And really, I think this is all based off of LTHM's earnings report that really started rocketing this back on up. So with that being mentioned, keep on watch MP. Keep on watch PLL. If you're going to continue to see the strength in LTHM, you could easily see the strength start coming back in MP and LAC and PLL. So know your Lithium players so that you can catch those rockets on the way up. Like always, rotation, rotation, rotation. Sometimes we're going to get the rotation back, and it can happen with just a good earnings report. And as you can see, LTHM really giving that push back, and we'll see what happens. SoFi, we'll see if that one can come back there. I see a lot in here. Nice to catch a live. What's your thought on Microsoft? Hey, look, I'll cover one more stock because I did see some new people in here. I enjoy that you guys are coming on in and taking a look at some of these stocks. Microsoft really quickly, let's take a look. So Microsoft, you can clearly see there's a level down below here around, let's say, the 278 that we kept holding. And one of the things that I always look for is about 2 to 3 to 4 bottoming actions here. And you can see here we've had already the 3. Then what did we do? Boom, on the 4th, we reversed, right? Now we've come back here into this level. Now we've had 1 attempted crack, 2 attempted crack, 3 attempted cracks. And today we get another attempted crack through that 280 level, and then it holds. So for me, 280s hold on Microsoft. We could get a nice little push back. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me today. Charlie, don't worry. I'll take a look at Fubo. Not a bad one to take a look at. Apple will test 170. Won't be a bad one. And Charlie, stick around, man. I got to say, man, if you saw me kind of being on both sides today, hey, that's what it's all about, man. Give me opinions. If you're on the opposite side, I won't be or view you any way wrong. I want to know why. And that's really the key here, right? Because you guys cannot agree with me. Just tell me the whys, like I try to tell you guys, and we'll keep on going and building here. All right, guys, if you guys didn't catch it, I see over 400 people here. Please do me the favor, guys. Hit that like button today. We need to flex on because guess what? The market's flexing here. We're going to keep it going like always, guys. Smash up the like button. If you guys can do me the favor, hit that like button before we get on out of here. And check out tomorrow and rewind if you didn't catch why the Fed meeting caused the stock market to have that massive run today. I gave the exact facts, but you got to rewind to catch it if you just jumped on in. We'll see you next time. Hope you guys had a good one, and take it easy, guys. Let's go ahead. Keep it going, guys.